All right, it's the end of January and your boy Josh is checking in. How are those New Year's resolutions coming? Are you still crushing your goals, or have you already got to the point where you're ready to kick them to next year? If you're having trouble keeping up with your resolutions, don't worry, you're not alone. In fact, studies show that 23% of people fall off the wagon after just the first week of the new year. 43% quit by the end of January, and up to 92% of people give up by the halfway point. But I don't think the problem is entirely you. I think it's your system, or if we're being honest, your lack of a system. I'm Josh, the founder of Upright Media and the host of Press Refresh, and today I'm gonna show you my step-by-step process to weaponize my calendar and make sure I hit all of my goals. In addition to working 12 plus hours a day, 6 to 7 days a week, I will also complete 8,577 additional tasks. You heard it, 8,577 additional tasks. And all of these things will get me closer to achieving my personal goals of creating content, traveling, spending quality time with my family, and slowly covering my body with more beautiful tattoos. The process is pretty easy. You just have to know where to start. If you want to obliterate your goals, yes, you will need discipline and willpower, trust. But you also need a strategy. And the best way to achieve that strategy is by turning your calendar into the ultimate productivity weapon. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to take control of your time, your goals, and your entire year. If you stick with this step-by-step system, I guarantee you will end 2025 saying, holy crap, I actually did it. Imagine how good that is going to feel. So, whether you're on track or ready to hit reset, stay with me. We are gonna build up the habits so we never fall off again. But before we get into the system, let's talk about the reason most people fail at their resolutions. Knowing the root cause of this issue will help understand the why behind the planning. For a lot of people, they wake up on January 1st with a fire inside of them. They've written down their goals. Maybe they bought a shiny new journal and they told themselves, self, this is gonna be my year. Fast forward a few weeks and well, that fire is more like a flicker. Now, let's all be honest with ourselves right now. How's it going with you? Did you already skip that workout? Did you miss that book that you said you were going to read? Are you already back to scrolling in your phone instead of working on that creative project? Look, I'm not here to judge, all right? So don't worry. I am here to tell you though that that situation is most people. So if you can just do a little bit more than most people, dude, you will be ahead of the pack in no time. Here's the problem with resolutions, and if any of these resonate with you, let me know in the comments. First of all, sometimes people set overwhelming goals. They try to bite way too much off, and then it tends to bite them. You know, if you're trying to lose 20 pounds, learn French fluently, start a business all at once, dude, there is no shot you're gonna do that. Not at first, you gotta ramp up to those things. The second is poor planning. You've got goals, but no system, all right? If you don't make an action plan and map out your course, you will never start moving forward. The third thing is people let chaos win, all right? Just face it, life happens, work gets crazy, your kids need attention, Netflix drops a new series and you just wanna make some chili and sit inside on a cold winter day. Before you know it, your resolutions are an afterthought, right? You can't let that get in the way. Look, and here's where it might get a little uncomfortable. If we look inward, if we're really being honest, this is not the first time this has happened, is it? Think about last year, and the year before, and the year before that. The cycle repeats because we're only relying on motivation, and motivation does not just appear. You have to practice motivation. You have to summon motivation, like the MFing Kraken. Brendan Burchard talks about motivation in his book, The 6 Habits of Growth, which, as an aside, I highly recommend the book. You should go buy it and read it. It is fantastic. But you really have to make motivation a habit. And if you pair that habit with a good system, you will be unstoppable. So, no more excuses, no more getting sidetracked, okay? It's time to dominate. All right, here's where we turn chaos into control. I've got big goals for 2025, just like you do. Okay, so looking at everything I've laid out, in addition to work, I've got daily drum lessons, I've got tattoo appointments, I've got monthly road trips, trips home to see my family, and so much more. First things first, you need to create a predictable workflow that fits into your routine. There are 3 major things that we'll focus on when creating your perfect schedule. First, deep work. Deep work equals progress on meaningful goals. You gotta have that on your calendar. The second thing, I recommend for some people who have a hard time focusing, let's create themed days. That way you can focus your productivity. And then the third thing are big rocks. Prioritizing what truly matters. These things are on your calendar and they do not move. I'm gonna talk about these a lot. They don't move. These are rocks, baby. It's easy to feel like there aren't enough hours in a day, but trust me, I promise you there are. You just have to plan correctly. So, how do you weaponize your calendar? Step 1, this is easy. You just need to set goals. I set my goals this year based on where I felt I was lacking last year. I'm terrible at taking time off. I rarely see my family anymore, and there are so many personal things that I've wanted to do, but I let work get in the way. So I created a doc called Josh's 2025 Plan, Big Goals. That's actually what the doc is called, by the way. And I started 2 lists. The first are things that I want to accomplish for my company, Upright Media. And the second is a list of things that I want to accomplish for myself. I want to fill myself up. I need to level up in certain areas, all right? I needed to be honest with myself, and that is where I created the goals from. These are going to help me achieve greatness internally. I'm gonna feel better about myself, and they align with my core values. I tend to go a little overboard because I have a big appetite, and I know some of you guys do too. I want to accomplish so much, okay? And if you're like me, that's okay. But just remember, having overwhelming goals is the #1 reason why people quit. So, know thyself and setteth attainable goalseth, okay? Also, these goals need to fit on your calendar, all of them. So chances are, some of these things ain't gonna happen this year, and that's okay. But in order for me to get the top goals on my calendar and avoid being overwhelmed, I wrote down all of my goals and then I put them in rank order. So if I ended up with 12 things that I wanted to accomplish this year, but I could only get 8 on the calendar, they should be the top most 8 impactful and exciting goals. For me, I started very zoomed out and I asked, what do I want to accomplish this year? What one big thing? I told you earlier that I never take time off. So for me, a proper vacation is something that I'm going to do this year. I'm absolutely gonna do it. I'm gonna find a beach. I'm gonna dip my toes in the ocean. I'm gonna drink a little Mai Tai in the sand, and it's gonna be fantastic. I haven't done that in actual years, but there's so much more that I want to accomplish. And the only way to eat an elephant is one bite at a time. So you start with small actions and they compound into big results. After thinking about the big goal for the year, I started zooming in more and more and more. I started annually, then biannually, quarterly, monthly, weekly, daily. For me, that looks a little something like this. Daily is long and short form content ideation, workout for at least 1 hour, 1 drum lesson for at least 30 minutes. Every day, I'll do those things. In addition to work, eating, sleep, obviously, but that's my day. So weekly, I will go to my boxing gym at least 3 times per week. I'll see my therapist. I'll go grocery shopping, because you gotta eat. I'll have a rest day, intentional client check-ins, proactive outreach for my business. I will call my dad to say what's up, and I will hang out with at least 1 friend every week. Monthly, I'm gonna get a tattoo every month, because that's what I wanna do. I wanna cover this temple, okay, with sweet, inky artwork. I will take a weekend road trip every month. It doesn't have to be far, just out of the city to explore something new. That's it. It can be a day trip. I just gotta get out for the weekend. I will have a bulk shoot for long and short form content, and I will live stream for my community every month. Now, quarterly, I'm part of a mastermind group with some of the most brilliant people in the industry, and we go away for about 4 days and we talk about our businesses once a quarter, and I love it so much. So that's my quarterly. Biannually, I will go back to Michigan, where I'm from, to be with my friends and family 2 times a year. I go back occasionally for Christmas too, but this time is very intentionally to spend quality time with my friends and my family. And then annually, like I said, 1 proper vacation. I'm doing it. All right, so we have all those things, but before we start adding them to the calendar, there are 2 things that I highly suggest you do. I talked about one of them earlier. First is block out time for deep work, okay? You have a lot that you want to accomplish. In order for you to accomplish your highest leverage tasks, you're going to need that time for yourself. I recommend at least 3 hours of deep work time before you take your first meeting with anyone. This is like when you're on an airplane and they tell you in a case of emergency to secure your own oxygen mask before you help anyone else. That's your deep work time. That's your oxygen mask. Now, after you have that, protect your time at all costs and treat your calendar like it's sacred. It's so easy to convince yourself to throw a meeting on the calendar during your deep work time because you see these big chunks on your calendar and you're like, I got time, I could slot you in, that's no big deal, you know, I've got it for myself anyways. And you do that once, you'll do it again, and then before you know it, you've got your freaking deep work carpet bombed with different meetings and it defeats the whole purpose. So now, with the airplane analogy, you are running around the fuselage helping everyone else with their masks while you're gasping for air. Don't do it, okay? Just don't. Now, we're gonna move on to step 3, which is building the calendar, all right? So let's build this weapon. All right, first of all, we're gonna anchor our big rocks. Stephen Covey calls them big rocks. I just call them rocks. These are your top priorities. These are non-negotiables that, if done consistently, will guarantee that you hit your goals. It's like, it's not sand, they're not pebbles, it's a rock. It's a big freaking rock, and you put it on your calendar and it doesn't move because it's a big freaking rock, okay? That's the whole point. So don't move your rocks. For me, my personal daily rocks are 1 hour of working out. That's a non-negotiable for my health, my energy, my mental. People are paying me to be smart for their companies. I gotta take care of this, all right? The other is the drum lessons we talked about every single day, at least 30 minutes, because by the end of the year, I want 365 lessons under my belt and I wanna start jamming again. Okay, that's just like, I don't have any hobbies. I wanna sit down at my kit and actually freaking rip, you know? And the third thing, content ideation. 10 long form ideas and 10 short form ideas daily. No excuses, because this is the backbone of my entire content strategy. I am going to be uploading so much content in 2025, and I'm going to need ideas. I'm the only one who can come up with those ideas for my channel, so I have to challenge myself to do it. Weekly rocks, I've got boxing 3 to 4 times, therapy, client check-ins, and prospecting time so I can continue to grow my business. These things go on my calendar first because they are the foundation of my success this year. See how this works? When you start with your big rocks, you ensure your top priorities have the space they need before anything else can creep in. I would just recommend setting them as recurring calendar invites, and then boom, you have got a framework. You're creating it. Let's go. Up next, I would create themed days, all right? Themed days can be a game changer. Instead of bouncing around between tasks, constantly context switching, and risking losing focus, you can ensure that every day has a purpose. So here's how I might loosely theme my week. Mondays, team priorities and strategic planning. I have all my one-on-ones with my team, we set the goals for the week, and we just dominate, okay? Tuesdays and Thursdays, client check-ins and prospecting for new business. Wednesdays, that's my creative day, all right? Wednesdays is all creative work. Writing long-form content, short-form content, brainstorming bigger ideas, working on creative for the channels that I am consulting for, writing LinkedIn posts. Wednesdays, baby, I'm just gonna crank on creative. And face it, Fridays most of the time become a catch-all for what you didn't get to the rest of the week. So it's kind of like reviewing, reflecting, and then catching up so I feel good going into the next week. Saturdays are for filming content, research, getting a tattoo, because I've got the time. You know, I don't have as many distractions on the weekends, so I can really focus on doing stuff like this on Saturdays. Sundays are kind of a rest day for me. I'll rest, I'll prep for the week, and I'll spend time on personal projects. This is like meal prepping, cleaning, making sure my apartment feels nice. That's my Sunday. So, you know, I feel energized going into the week ahead. Now, this system keeps me focused and avoids the mental drain of switching tasks constantly. When I wake up, I already know what today's about, and that feels good. All right, step 3, stack habits to maximize efficiency. Here's where things get really efficient. Habit stacking means pairing tasks so they flow naturally. For example, if I'm working out, I can also work on content ideas. I use time on the treadmill or the stationary bike to brainstorm ideas for videos. I'll write LinkedIn posts. I'll come up with 10 short form ideas. You know, it's simple, but it doubles my productivity in the morning. Boxing and therapy on the same day, These are both about mental and physical health, so I pair them, just because I feel like it helps me get in the right mindset. So for me, it'll be like a weighted workout in the morning, therapy later in the morning, and then depending on what therapy brings out, I'll go to the boxing gym and then punch the rest of it out if I need to. It's like, sometimes you just gotta. By combining tasks like this, you're not just saving time, you're building momentum. Step 4, you need to plan for flexibility. Even the best plans need wiggle room. That's where buffer zones come in. I block an hour every day for the unexpected. Calls, last minute tasks, or just catching my breath. And then I also throw a little sunset walk on the calendar to clear my head before I make dinner. I do this almost every day. I use that time to listen to music or nothing at all. Like literally, I will just walk and I'll try to fully clear my head. So if I do need to work late, I'll have a sense of renewed focus after dinner. And Sundays, that's my maintenance day. I take an active rest day from the gym, usually no major tasks, just catching up on cleaning, laundry, meal prep, taking the time to get ready for the week ahead, doing any sort of preparation for big meetings or pitches or anything that I might have so I can be well informed, study materials if I have any to look at. It's kind of like a pit stop for my brain. Without some kind of buffer, one unexpected event can derail your whole week. But if you have the wiggle room, you're back in control, baby. Don't even worry about it. You got it. All right, you built the buffer, that meeting, push this meeting, push that meeting. I'm chilling. Step 5, quarterly and annual planning. Big goals require long-term thinking. All right, I'm looking at the whole year ahead. So that's why I've built in the quarterly mastermind trips, the biannual visits to Michigan to see my dad, and one proper vacation each year. These aren't just nice to haves, okay? They're part of my calendar and they ain't moving. They are going to happen and you need to treat them as they aren't going to move. And the obvious benefit, by the way, of putting them on the calendar early in the year is that now I have ample time for planning, saving money for the trips, etc., etc., etc. So by scheduling these now, I make sure I'm not burning out mid-year. Success isn't about grinding, it's about pacing yourself. Having the mastermind in the calendar, by the way, is so beneficial for me because it motivates me to do great things each quarter so that I can go share it with my boys. And it's a nice checkpoint to relax and breathe and be among friends who I respect. When I see it on the calendar, it reminds me that I don't have to sprint forever. I've scheduled the time to step off the hamster wheel, which has a hugely positive effect on my psychology. All right, step 6, keep reviewing and adjusting. This is the final step. You have to treat your calendar like a living document. Every week, I ask myself, did I hit my rocks? What worked? What didn't? What needs adjusting for next week? Okay? This simple review process ensures I'm always improving. You have to constantly be looking back. You have to constantly be reflecting and iterating. Okay? It's not about perfection, it's about progress. And you need daily discipline. I'm talking daily discipline. Start each day reviewing your calendar and your intentions. Build habits that align with your blocks of time, like a morning routine or end of day review. Check in on this every single day. You have to be disciplined or it's never gonna happen. This could be at the start of the day, it could be at the end of the day, but you have to get in the habit of checking in or you can really go off the rails. And once you do this and you've figured it out, you get to reap the benefits, okay? It's not just about work. You're getting your time back. You're getting value out of your life. And at the end of the year, you can say that you did it. You did. You did what 92% of humanity couldn't do. Isn't that awesome? That's incredible. You did it. You can prove to yourself and others that even though life is hard and busy and there's so many things to get in the way and try to throw you off your path, you did it. You've gained personal fulfillment. You've made time for hobbies, family, self-care, and travel. Your habits, goals, motivation, all that stuff will create long-term impact. So you just gotta move it forward. Small, consistent actions compound into big wins over the year. I get so hyped about scheduling. Ooh, it's so good. You can do it. Get your time back. Do something impactful. Gosh, dump that time back into your relationships, man. You can have both things. You can have a fulfilling career and a fulfilling personal life. You just have to do it, all right? It's not too late. So look, this is how I'm weaponizing my calendar in 2025, and guess what, baby? You can do the same thing. Remember, start with your big rocks, theme your days, stack your habits, leave room for flexibility, and by the end of the year, you will be amazed at what you can accomplish. And you will still have time for road trips, tattoos, and even the occasional Netflix binge. January is almost over, and that's okay. 2025 is just getting started. So forget about the resolutions that you've already missed. You can't get that time back. Commit to the system, weaponize your calendar, and I guarantee you, you will look back on this year as one where you didn't just set your goals, you hit them, you crushed them, you exceeded them, and you made yourself proud. Now, go block some time and make it happen. If you found this video useful, please share it with a friend. Hit the like and subscribe buttons, turn on that notification bell, and check back next time because I'm bringing you so much freaking content in 2025 because it is a big rock and it ain't moving.